Okay, as I told you, Python is free and it's very simple to learn. And the main feature is that it's a high level, dynamically typed and interpreted language. Okay, it makes debugging your program very easy. Okay, and you can develop any type of applications at a very rapid pace. Okay, to know about when it was developed in the year 1989 by a person called Guido van Rossum. Okay, it's a difficult word. I hope I am pronouncing it properly. Fine. And there are many applications which are supported by Python, or we can write many applications, different types of applications through Python. It supports, you can say cross-platform operating systems. For example, if suppose I write a program in Windows, okay, now I'm using a Windows platform. I have loaded Python on Windows. Whatever program I write here, I can easily take this on a Linux platform and execute the same program without making any changes to it. Okay, that is known as cross-platform operating system. Clear? There are like globally known applications. Now you have used YouTube a lot. So YouTube, your Dropbox is nothing but applications which are developed through Python. Clear? Now let us see one by one what are the different types of applications that can be developed through Python. The first example I would give is for web development. Okay. Now Python can be used to make web application at a very rapid pace. The reason is because of the frameworks which are available in Python. There are inbuilt frameworks and huge number of libraries which can be used, directly used to create your web application. Now the protocols like, HTTPS, FTP, like your file transfer protocol or your HTTPS protocols. Okay. All these protocols are integrated protocols in the Python library. So it becomes very easy for a person who's developing a Python application to make use of the inbuilt libraries and create the web or create the website in a very fast way. Okay. There are many issues like, whenever you go for a web development, the main concern is always security and scalability. So whether my website will be secure enough or it can be used on different types of platforms. So to give you an idea, Python, because it is, as I told you, we can run applications designed on Windows, on Linux, or any other platform. So it is more scalable. Okay, and we can use the inbuilt security features which are already there. Now, to give you some frameworks, like this framework called Django, okay, Flask, Pyramid. These are some frameworks which are already inbuilt. Like if I want to write a code for emailing, email, the package is already available. JSON, XML. So these are some packages which are already available, which will help a web developer to create a website very easily. Okay. And that's why you can see Python is becoming very popular. Then comes your game development. People are nowadays using Python to create different types of games. Again, because they have the inbuilt libraries, and for 3D games and all, Python 3, especially Python 3 supports 3D gaming a lot. Okay, and there's a package or library, you can call it as PySoy, Pysoy, or we also have Pygame, Pygame, game. So these are some inbuilt libraries that helps in creating your 3D games. Okay. Then comes your machine learning. Now, machine learning and artificial intelligence. This is what we are going to learn in our syllabus. We are not going to learn web development. Okay. So machine learning, artificial intelligence, you can say are the talks of the town, we can say. Right. And with what do you mean by machine learning? Okay. What we do is we make the computer learn based on the past experience through the data which is stored, and on the PC, might be you have a database. Okay. So the computer gets used to through some type of a algorithm. So we can create an algorithm, or there are some inbuilt algorithms as well, which can be directly used, to solve your problems directly. Okay. Now, in case of machine learning, the libraries which are available, which we are going to also learn, is Pandas. Okay. And NumPy. NumPy is your numerical Python. Okay. Pandas are used to extract data from websites, from files. Okay. For example, you might have gone through the website called Jabong. Okay. Where you get the information of different, hotels and all. So what they are actually doing is they are using Pandas. They are extracting data from different websites through some algorithm. Okay. And then comparing and putting on their own websites. Okay. So such type of libraries are already inbuilt and can be easily used to solve the problems in machine learning and artificial intelligence. Clear? Next is your data science and data visualization. Now, in the second semester, first year, we had done Tableau, which was basically used for data visualization. Now, using R also, I can do data visualization, plus using Python, I can also perform data visualization. Okay, there are libraries like NumPy, as I told you, which can be used here as well. Okay, and there are libraries for visualization like Matplotlib or Seaborn. Okay, these are some of the libraries which can be used for plotting graphs and all. Okay, and it is a great tool to have it, so that we can create excellent type of visualizations, which is not possible in applications like Excel. Okay, there are different types of visualization tools available which we can use. So Python is one of them. Next is using or creating desktop graphical user interfaces. Okay, so here we are, like, for example, we can create applications like calculators and all that stuff. Okay, there is a library called Tkinter, sorry, T capital KINTAR. There is a library which helps us create different desktop interfaces. Fine. Then there's a concept called web scraping application. As I told, Python can be used to pull large amount of data from the website. Okay, from the various real world processes. For example, your websites, which is showing you the stock market details. Okay, or price, there are different prices of different products on different websites. Okay, so I can use this concept of web scraping. Okay, there is a library called Beautiful Soup. Okay, which can be used to pull large amount of data from different websites. Plus, we can also make use of Pandas to access different files. Clear? So again, web scraping is another application or another topic altogether, which you can learn if you are interested in this. Then comes your business applications, where systems like your e-commerce websites, ERPs can be easily made through your Python. And the platforms such as Triton is one of the example which is developed as a business application through Python. Then comes applications which are based on audio and video applications, where we can play audios and videos. So there are libraries called which can help us create some beautiful applications where we can play videos and audios, record audios, edit it, and do some mixing and all that stuff. And then finally comes your CAD application, your computer aided designing. Okay, if I can create an application like CAD is very expensive, applications are available in market. Okay, so Python is one of the we can say programming languages which are available, which can be used for computer aided designing. Okay, there is a well-known application for CAD called Fandango, Fandango. Okay, and it's just the basic. There are lots of objects, functions available in Python that can help me create your CAD applications. Okay, now there are some applications which are embedded applications. Now, as I told you in the beginning, Python was created is based on C programming. Okay, so as you know, C can be easily used to write softwares or applications which are embedded applications, which can directly interact with your hardware. Okay, those who have heard of an application called, or embedded application called Raspberry Pi. It's just like a small card which can be, directly added to your monitor, and your monitor can become a computer, a total full-fledged computer which can perform all types of computations. Okay, so even Python is a software which can be used for creating embedded applications. Okay, these are some of the applications which I told you where Python is used. Now, what we can do is today in today's session, I'll show you how to install Python. Okay, so those who have a laptop or they can or a desktop, they can easily go and download. So I'll share a screen here and show you the website where I can. So I'm just sharing my screen. Just wait a minute. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what I'll do is, I have already installed Python on my laptop right now. I'll just show you the website where I can directly go and install Python. So if you want, you can Google it out. So I go to Google, say Python. Okay, the first website itself is python.org. So this is my main website from where I can download my Python software. So click on this website and here you can see my screen here under the downloads option. If you want, you can go through all the releases if you do not want the latest one. Might be if your laptop is old or your desktop is old, you can go for the older versions. But do not go for version which is of 2 point and so. Always try to get Python software which is of 3+ applications. Okay. So one way is from here, you can directly click on this button here to download the latest Python application, which is right now 3.8.5. Or we also have here down below this section here, you can see this latest Python 3.8.5. Okay. And those are using some other operating system like Ubuntu or Linux on their laptops. You need to specifically search for the software which supports that particular operating system. Okay. Now I'll just show you how to install it. So I'll minimize the screen. I've already downloaded it here on my folder. It's in my downloads. Here it is. You can see this one, Python 3.8.5. So I'll just double click it. Okay. Now I'm getting 3 options which says modify, repair, uninstall. Okay. You will be getting a customize option or install. You can either go for customization installation or you can let Python decide where to install it. Now I have recorded one small video on this. I'll just play that video for you all. Okay, so I'll cancel this one. And I'll play the video. Tell me whether you can hear the voice of this video. Okay, just 1 minute. So I can go here. Okay, can you see the vids? I'll be showing you how to install Python on Windows 10 operating system. To begin with, we need to first download the Python application. You can directly go to the website python.org. And from the downloads menu option, you will see the latest version has been uploaded. Now, as on today, the latest version is Python 3.8.5. So click on this download option and save it on your PC. As I have already downloaded this, we will go to the downloads folder and execute the setup. Here under the downloads folder, you can see this Python 3.8.5 has been. Double click on it. You will get 2 options. Install now in the default directory. And you can also have a customized installation. One more option which you need to check is add Python 3.8. So it creates an environment variable and it is added. So I know. Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you hear the voice properly of the video?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. Okay, fine. Once you download this, I'll just explain you once again. You have these two options here. Okay, install now and customize installation. Fine. Now, install now is going to directly make use of the standard settings and directly install Python on your PC in the default directory. Now, excuse me, in this example here, you can see this C:users del. This is my default directory where Python will be installed. Clear? If you don't want to install in this particular folder, you can always go for the customized installation. Clear? And one more thing, you can see this down here, we have two check boxes which says install launcher for all users, which is recommended. Now it can happen that you have multiple users which are created on your desktop or on your laptop. Okay. So in that case, what happens is, if suppose you're installing Python using a particular user, Python will not be available to the other users. Okay. And if I want to make Python available to all the users across on my laptop or on my desktop, I need to check this option. Okay. The other option which says that add Python 3.8 to path. Usually what happens, like those who have done Java before, there are some environment variables which are created. Fine. And one of the environment variable is path. That means if I have some Python program in one of the folders and I want to execute that through my command prompt, okay, it will easily locate that particular path of your executable, or you can say the interpreter, and execute my Python program. So even this option has to be selected. So the second option, both the option has to be selected, and then you can click on customize and change the folder. So I'll just play this forward. Secondly, if you do not want it to install on the default directly, you can do customize installation. Let us go to customize installation and check what are the options available. Click on next after this. First option, install for all users, has to be selected, so that if you have multiple users on your laptop or on your PC. Okay. Now, when you come to this custom setup, the first thing you have to select is install for all users. As I told you, there might be multiple users on your machine. So it has to be accessible to all of them. So install for all users is one checkbox which you have to select. Second is, as soon as you select this, you get a new folder here. Okay, it says program files, and there's a folder which is created by Python itself. So Python 38-32, this is the default folder. If you don't want this, you can easily go to browse and create a new folder. Okay. All of the users can execute Python. Change this as well. Let me click on browse, installing it. See, I have created a new folder here, Python, and I'll be installing there. I can also directly type here /Python, and I'll give a version here. It was 3.8.5, and put a slash. Click on install, which you have created. We'll wait for some time so that as we install. And here you can see Python. Okay, I'll stop sharing the screen right now, and I'll directly show you on my laptop how to go about run the Python, start Python. I hope everyone, it's very simple to install Python actually. I hope everyone does this so that when we come for the next session, we can write a small program. So I'll stop sharing my screen right away and share this screen. Minimize this or close this one. Let me close this as well. Fine. Can you see my screen here? And the voice is
Yes,
also
sir.
clear. Okay. Now,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
whenever you want to launch Python, okay, either you can create a shortcut on your desktop or in your search. When you type, say, Python here, you will find there are two options available here. Now this first one, which says 32-bit, and the symbol, you can see the symbol here, it shows a command prompt. Okay, this is your command prompt for Python. Plus we also have a editor, which is an inbuilt editor which is available, where I can make my files or write my files, which is idle, IDLE. Okay. Now for today, I'll just launch the command prompt. So let us run this command prompt here. Okay. Now, as you run this, you can see this version which is been installed. It says 3.85 Python. Okay. Depending on the machine, actually what happens is, even if your machine is 64-bit machine, Python will be installed for 32-bit machine. Fine. And it says this is type help, copyright and all to check whether it's running. Now the prompt which is displayed, there are 3 greater than signs. That is nothing but your Python prompt. Okay. Now let us start with a simple command. I'll just write a function called print here. Okay. Now those who are used to C programming, and even in R programming, we had written a print function, right? So usually whenever we start with programming, we always start with hello world. Okay. So I'll put hello and world, single quote complete, round brackets complete. Now, when I'm putting this single quotes, one more option is available. You can also make use of double quotes. Okay, so whether you want to print any string, it can come in single or in double quotes. Okay, just press enter after this and we get the output. Okay, this itself indicates that we are using an interpreter. As I told, it is an interpreter which we are using, and a single line can be executed directly on the command prompt. Okay, I can write any expressions also. So if I want to write some expressions, say I want to do some calculation, I can put the numbers here, press enter, and I get the answer. And if suppose I make a mistake, let us say I make a mistake here, I put a plus and I forget to write the next constant value, press enter, I'll get the syntax error. Clear? Now this is through your command prompt, and as I told you, we can make use of idle as well. So let us launch idle here. So I'll search for idle, launch it. Now this is your interface. So this is your interactive interface, you can say. And again, you can see this prompt available like it was available on the command prompt. Okay. And we have an option of creating files. So if I want to write multiple commands in a file or create a Python file, I can create a file from here. Okay. So this is the editor, and I can, same command I can write here, say print single quote. Now you can see as I'm typing, I'm getting the help options available. Okay. So this is because it's an editor, it's meant for Python. I'll say hello and world again, single quote complete and round bracket. Now I can save this file. So click on file, save. Remember, your file has to be saved as Python files. So this option has to be there. If it is not there, okay, if suppose you select on all files, this option is available. See that you give the extension. Okay. Python gives you the default extension if you have save type as Python files. So I'll give you a hello or hi, just say hi. And no need of giving any extension. The default extension for all your Python files is .py. Okay, I click on save. And from your option, we have the run module option here. Just press this and on the screen, I'll get the output. Okay, and here you can see the name of my file here, hi.py. Okay. So for today, I think we can stop here. If you have already loaded Python, can we take a program?
Yes, sir.
We can take one small program. We'll take the simplest one, like we'll take hello world only. Plus I'll try to take some names from the user and execute it. Okay. So simultaneously, if you want, you can note it down somewhere. So I'll write another program instead of this program here. So let us write another program. So instead of hello world, I'll write hi what is your name? Okay, so I'm asking a question, and what we'll do is we'll take the input from the user in a variable. Now in Python, variables can be directly, you need not give the data type for the Python in Python. So if I create a variable, let us say I create, say, my name, I can use this and directly assign a value to it. Now, instead of assigning a value, constant value, I'll take the value from the user at runtime. And the function which I'll be using is input function. Okay. I won't pass any parameters here. I'll just give input, complete the round bracket, and I'll display in the printf, in the print statement, I'll say hello. I'll display the person's name. So to do that, I can put a plus sign. Okay. Your plus operator is used in two ways. It is used as arithmetic operator, and it is also used for string concatenation in Python. Okay. So whenever you want to combine two strings, multiple strings, you can make use of the plus operator. So here, because I want to display the name, which is in this variable my name, I'll just put this here. Okay, and I'll complete the round bracket. Let us save the file and execute this. Run the module. Now you can see it is displaying me the first message. Hi, what is your name? And the cursor is waiting for me to enter the name. Let us say I'll add some name, say Raj, and press enter. And as soon as I do, I get hello, Raj. Okay, it was a very simple one. Let us go back. Fine. If suppose I want to accept the person's age as well, let us take what is your age? I can print again, print what is your age. Now there's a reason for showing you when I accept an integer value or a numerical value, how to display it. That is what I'm trying to show you here. So I'll print the age. So print, see, you are, and I complete this, put a plus sign, and here before this I have to accept the age. So I'll write my age equal to input. Okay. Display the age which the user has entered here, my age. Okay. You are dash, I can add a string here, years old. Okay, this completes my full statement. Okay, now if I run this, let us see how it runs. And I think before we go ahead and make some changes, I'll just run this here on the command prompt here. So save this file again. You can press Ctrl S if you want, and press F5 to run it. Okay, say Raj again, press enter. Now it is asking me to enter the age, let us say 27. Now what happens? Look at this. Okay, it says you are 27 years old. So what is happening here? Now coming back to your program. Here, because I'm taking this input, this function input, actually whatever it reads from the user, from the command prompt, it is treated as a string and not as an integer. Okay, so even if I've entered a numerical value, for Python it is a integer for string value. Okay, but if I want to make some changes here, let us say I want to write your age. Next year you will be, let us say, okay, I say wow, you will be, say, now I want to display the age of the user for next year. Okay, that means I have to add 1 to it. So here I'll write my age plus 1. Okay, and then put the plus sign again. So you will be whatever years old next year. Fine. Now, if I run this one, it is going to give me an error. Let us see what that error is. So I press Control S to save it and run it. Here you can say I put the name Raj again. Age, say 27 again. It gives me the age, you are 27 years old. But the next statement where I have done the calculation, it says, what is the error type? Can only concatenate string and not integer. Okay, that means this plus operator which I have used with string plus 1, that is giving me an error. Okay, so let us make a change here. Come back here. So your my age input is a string right now. So I have to convert this into integer. So the function which I'll be using here is the int function. So what I'll do is I'll first convert this into integer and then add 1 to it. But again, if I convert this into integer, add 1 to it, say 27 will become 28 and it will remain integer. But when I'm concatenating a string and an integer, again, it is going to create an error. Okay. So after converting it into integer, adding 1 to it, the overall result has to be again converted into a string. That means here again, I have to make a use of a function called str to convert this whole thing into a string. Okay. I hope you have understood. Any doubts here? What we are doing?
No, sir.
Okay. So what we did, because we wanted to perform a calculation, the input function takes a string as an input, right? So I'm converting a string into integer first, adding 1 into it, and then converting the integer into string back. Okay. Let us save this and run it. Now, let us say I'll put the name as, say, Jamshed. Press enter. What's your age? I put 35. And here you go, you get the output as you are 35 years old. Wow, you will be 36 years old. In fact, it should be next year. Clear? So this was a very simple type of a program to just show you how to take input from the user. And remember, whatever inputs you are going to take from the user from the command prompt will be always treated as a string. Clear?
Yes, sir.
We can go ahead. It's already 12:40 right now. I think we should stop here. And next time when we come, we'll see what are the different types of operators which are available in Python. And we'll do some calculations. We'll write some expressions and try to see the outputs. Okay. And we'll also see the if conditions, how to use the if condition, if else statement, and how to write different blocks of statements. Right? So I'll stop sharing the screen right away, and I'll also stop my recording.